We were wondering what you think of the secret sauce of a successful entrepreneur.
The secret sauce of a successful entrepreneur is preventing your own extinction, never giving up. Things will get bad, things will get tough, but entrepreneurs who prevent their own extinction are the ones who succeed because they eventually get lucky. Eventually, the winds turn to their favor and they make it. The entrepreneur that puts their hand up and says, I give up, or goes to investor and says, I need money, those are the ones that make it. The ones who survive are the ones who are persistent and prevent their own extinction.
I think it is relatively easy to see when somebody's going to be successful or not. So the people who say I want to be an entrepreneur usually don't go anywhere. But people who really become successful are the ones that have a very genuine desire for what they are doing. And they usually won't say that they want to be an entrepreneur. They will usually say that they want to do something. They will say, I want to make electric cars. I want to fix this problem. So the genuine desire is the most important part. And the second one is relentless execution. Because again, you see somebody who will eventually become successful and you'll actually know it. Even when they were just starting and they were nothing, you actually know that they're going to work because they look like unstoppable forces. They look like even if they hit a wall, they will change directions and eventually find the right path to success.
I think one key thing is, for me, is the passion. Tutku in Turkish, as we say. If you don't have the passion for disrupting an industry or disrupting a segment, starting a new business, it's impossible to do. So it's a long list of things that you have to have: determination, hard work, intelligence, great networking skills. But I think passion basically is the foundation for everything.
So I think the most important element of an entrepreneur is passion. So if you're excited about something and you just can't let go and you really want to build a company around it, that's the core of entrepreneurship. And I think that's what makes the most successful entrepreneurs get through all the toughest times and have the success in the end. It's the passion behind what they're doing.
Well, how do we network effectively?
Sure, I think so first of all, there are some people who are amazing at networking. And there are some people who have very strong networks, but they're not necessarily amazing at networking. So you have to find the difference. If you want to be amazing at networking, I think there are a lot of books to read about, and you can spend a lot more time networking. Or the alternative path is you can do something really interesting, and then everybody will want to meet you all the time. And then you can just passively build a network because of how interesting your job is, your work is. So I chose to be the second. I don't actually professional network. But I think I can create a more genuine network because of people who are interested in what I'm doing.
How do we network effectively? By being vicious. You have to flip a switch in your head that makes you far more aggressive than you think you are, or in Turkish, yırtık. You have to network like mad, talk to people, almost make it like a job. Make a list, make a spreadsheet of who you want to meet and where, and meticulously follow it. Do double networking that you think you could do.
So building up a network always takes time, and I think you always have to keep reinvesting into it. The most important is, leverage your existing kind of contacts that you know, and always try to use them to also get to know new people and be open to unique other networks that might not be as close or as comfortable for you yourself. And if every one person you meet can introduce you to 2 or 3 new people before you know it, you have a huge network, very powerful. And especially in Silicon Valley, people are very open and very willing to share knowledge and share tips and advice. And it's very easy to get to know everybody here.
Basically, networking is obviously goes back again, loving what you do and doing it all the time, repetitively. That goes back again to the first question, to have a passion for an entrepreneur. And an entrepreneur who cannot network effectively cannot raise money, cannot meet customers, cannot build partner intimacy. So on how to do it, obviously networks are intermingled clusters. So you need to have a strong desire and interest of meeting people, be diligent in coming to events like this. Hopefully we're going to do more video programming in the future on panels like this that we're going to do. and connect with folks. And those folks will connect you with other folks. There's no magic really. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of passion, and loving what you do. And connecting dots with your value network, with your investors, potential customers, potential partners, even family members, and bringing all these constituents into one virtual network which has other clusters connected to it, like we're going to do today.
What is the secret of successful fundraising?
Secret of successful fundraising is knowing your business, knowing what you really all about in terms of your business, strong presentation skills. Again, very big focus on detail, whether that's customer partner experience, your IP differentiation, your competitive landscape, the segment you're going after. What are the main trends in the segment you're going to go after? What are the challenges those trends are creating? What is your solution? And some proof points. Bringing all those pieces together, and again, strongly networking with clusters that you're involved in, from customers to partners to investors and VIPs in that specific network. Might be financial analysts, might be industry analysts, and friends like yourselves, or associations like TUSIAD. Making those networks work for you to raise more money. And obviously, then building proof points with successful customer relationships that you can have additional proof points that your IP or what you do delivers value. With those proof points, it's much easier to raise money.
So a couple of things. In a way, this is similar to there are people who are good at fundraising. Right? They are slick people, charismatic. They know how to talk. They know how to build connections. If you don't have any of those like me, then again, you need a good story. You have to really craft your story and make it genuine, and then you have to create the feeling of an opportunity in front of the investors. Investors want to believe that if they pass on you, they will really regret it a couple of years later, right? So that's kind of creating the sense of urgency is really critical to be able to close the deal.
Successful fundraising. One, first of all, listening to investors, understanding their questions and concerns, and not always giving the same answer. Oftentimes, you ask the weather to a CEO, you get the company pitch. That's what we do, but we have to listen. And also, you can talk to 50 investors. 5 of them may say no. 45 of them may say hell no. But you still have to go find that one. So it's a statistics game. You have to keep pushing, and never let down, and always believe in your mission.
I think the biggest, probably in the early stage success of fundraising, is have a very crisp understanding of what your idea is and be able to communicate that very effectively. So I think there's many entrepreneurs with great ideas, but the biggest challenge almost everybody has is how do you take something, really big idea, make it very simple to understand for investors. Investors have a very small amount of time they're willing to spend on your idea. So if you can make it very easy to understand and something that they feel like they're excited about and they have a personal passion in, that's a great way to get your idea funded.
What are the main considerations while building a great team?
So that kind of depends. There are different schools of thought. So some people like sharp elbow success at all costs type of teams. I mean, Uber built a team like that in the early days, and they became very wildly successful with that. So I like building teams who are very self-motivated. And again, my test is good people, they make things work somehow, even if it takes longer. But the people who are not really good will be very creative with finding excuses. Right? They will always want more resources and still not go anywhere. So this will sound very cruel, but I usually joke that setting up a good team is not about hiring the right people, it's about firing the right people. Because if you don't kind of eliminate people who are not fitting your team, then you'll end up with you will end up with an uncohesive team.
So building a great team is really challenging and probably one of the most important things as the company starts scaling. I think everybody always wants to work with great people. So if you have a really great team of co-founders or initial hires and employees within your company, that helps build a really great large team as well. And if you make too many compromises early on, that can lead to making it very difficult for recruiting later. So I think the best building blocks are always having the best possible people from every single hire that you make, and make sure that every hire you make actually levels up the entire team. So ideally, you're always hiring better and smarter people, and if you can do that, you're building a great team.
And last but not the least, fundamentals of building a great product.
Number one is culture, making sure that you bring together the right people, making sure that you predefine what those characteristics are. Like for instance, not every company has to be the same culture. It has to be not rah-rah, go, kill the competition. Some companies, some industries are different. So identifying basically the segment you're in. Like you might be a not-for-profit, you might still need to fundraise. And your roles and responsibilities and the culture you're building up might be a little bit different. It might not be super aggressive, but much more defensive. So basically, the teams supporting that goal has to tie to that nature of the business. So I think once you define the culture, then it's much easier to define right people for that team. And not every single person in that team has to be the same cookie cutter personality. I personally like people who have different viewpoints, different ideas, so they can argue and debate. Obviously, it's very hard. It's easier said than done, right? But I think I would say the culture definition and finding the people who can debate and who can argue topics to find the right answers for the right questions, and who ask the right questions.
It's actually an easy one. You have to surround yourself with people smarter than you. There is no room for being passive aggressive. There's no room for egos. You have to be willing to take some pain. If you don't feel pain, if you don't feel shame for your mistake, you will not improve. So surround yourself with good people. Take criticism. Be self-aware. Understand what's going on around you. And most importantly, empower your team. Give them a place. Give them an environment where they can succeed.
And last but not the least, fundamentals of building a great product.
So a great product, I think ultimately comes down to having kind of a very good understanding of the customer experience and the end users, and really knowing, if it's, in my case, we're selling enterprise software, and so really understanding how the end users are going to use it and knowing what they're trying to do with your product, how they're building their value proposition, understanding that. But also really making sure that in the case of enterprise software, that all stakeholders have an experience with your product that's kind of frictionless and easy for them. And so a lot of great products, if it's a consumer product, you really only need a great consumer experience. But consumers can be very finicky and very difficult. So that's why in consumer startups, you see these big hits, but many attempts at those hits. In enterprise software, it's a little easier where you can build up kind of that great customer experience over time. You don't need to have the perfect product hit, but you do need to always continue at understanding, how customers are experiencing your product and getting a great feedback loop as well. So making sure you're capturing, their experience with your product and the feedback on how to make it better.
So great product is mostly about finding a unique position of insight. So when we started Udemy, I think we had the advantage that we were coming from a different background from the people who are typically in Silicon Valley. So they thought education was a quality problem. We thought it was an access problem. And similarly, in Carbon Mining, a healthcare company, we built a primary care clinic with just to be able to observe what's happening on a daily basis in the clinic so that we can design a better healthcare system. It's really just creating the unique position inside, surrounding yourself with the people who have that inside, or actually becoming the customer of your product is really the best way to do it. The rest is really a lot of skill tuning. So you have to be good at designing and you're iterating on your product, and there's no way to learn this without actually building products.
Thank you so much, Ceylan.
Thanks. Of course, it was a delight for me.
It has to be a balance between listening to your customers and fulfilling your mission. It's not always true that your customers know what they want. Oftentimes they don't. But you also have to have your ears open. So the success of a great product is to put your vision out there, yet also blend in good feedback from the market. Another important thing about building a great product is to get the product in front of customers quickly. There's a great saying in Silicon Valley that says, if you're not ashamed by your version 1.0, you didn't ship fast enough. That is very true. get the products in the hand of customers. If they want it, they'll give you feedback, they'll use it, and waiting to make the perfect product is oftentimes unnecessary. You should just throw yourself out there and learn fast, iterate fast.
Okay, so look, more than the product, fundamentals of building a great company is three things: customer partner experience, very strong IP differentiation, whatever that IP is. It might be a service company, it might be a product company, and then obviously excellence in operations, operational excellence I call, whether that's financials, marketing, sales, teaming, all those pieces are part of this. So in building a unique product, it goes through obviously the segment you're defining, and within that segment, how you can become the number one. So differentiation, competitive landscape, and how you stack up against others. And I think it's not only product, but it also might be a service, maybe a combination of both. So the differentiation is the key thing. How you build that, you need to understand, again, earlier I mentioned this, you need to understand the trends in that industry or segment, what those trends are creating, what kind of hassles and challenges, and how is your product or service addressing those challenges with specific proof points. This many dollars saved, it goes this fast, or it's much secure, more secure than the next solution or service out there, whatever that product is. It goes back again, knowing the segment, knowing the landscape, trends, challenges, and what the solution needs to entail, and make sure that you communicate the proof points clearly. I hope I'm doing that right now with you.